that right is a great thing. We'd like to have them do the right thing, but the righteous things brings with it a sense of being more than fair, being just to the extent that you realize that a mistake has been made and that we have to correct this horrible mistake that has been made, and that we want to do it, and we want to do it with alacrity. We don't want to do it with hesitancy. Let's make sure that we exhibit that kind of spirit. That's my hope. But to be candid, I cannot say that it will happen, because before this can be done, we have to have an act of Congress. And before we can have an act of Congress, we have to have a Congress willing to act. It takes an act of Congress to do this. And to have that act of Congress, we must have a Congress that is amenable to acting. I hope that this Congress is amenable to acting and according justice. I yield to the attorney.
We definitely hope that the United States Congress doesn't do what has happened so far here in the state of Oklahoma through the city, the county, and the state, which is literally try to wait for all the survivors to die. Because one thing about it, throughout this nation, we've seen anytime there is an effort for reparatory justice, that one of the main defenses against it is, oh, well, who's alive to actually suffer the harm? And who's alive to actually committed the harm? Well, in this situation, we have both. We have two individuals who are alive, who suffered the harm, and we have entities that are around who caused the harm, and I argue perpetuate the harm each and every day, that they do not do something about it. So I'm just as optimistic. We understand what our political landscape is in today's
News Oklahoma starts right now.
I'm not sure what that's about.
I don't know, it's like a promo. But I was just saying that obviously we know it's a very polarized political landscape, and there's a lot of racism and discrimination at the forefront.
I love you so much, and I'm so happy to be with you now.
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, just in the simple.
Would KJRH please mute your device?
I just muted them, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I was just saying, listen, we understand it's a very difficult political terrain, but I do think people of goodwill will see this, particularly for the two women at 110, and hopefully we can get over the finish line in their lifetime. We keep saying that, and I've been saying that for many years, the urgency of now, to try to get people that actually suffered the harm to get some relief right now. And I think that means a lot. And we hopefully that we can get help within this Congress, and also the administration can help push this along to do the right thing. And as the congressman said, do the righteous thing.
Elizabeth, I trust that satiates your concern.
Yeah, just one last thing. Why is this coming from Texas and not Oklahoma?
I'll speculate first. I believe that each member has an opportunity to take up the causes and challenges in the United States of America. I'm a United States congressman. This is a cause that has gone without justice for over 100 years. I cannot in good conscience allow it to continue without making some effort to bring justice to it. I came and I went to Tulsa because I could sense the injustice. And when I arrived there, I experienced it by looking at the various places where some of these events took place, talking to people. And I'm just convinced that I'm doing the right thing. But I'm not going to say to my colleagues that they have to do a certain thing. I will invite them to sign on to the legislation once that we present it, and to help us get it passed. So for whatever reasons, they have not to date moved forward on this. It's not too late. And I'm going to make an appeal to them to join us in this cause. It's a noble cause. This is not a quixotic quest, and we'd like to have their participation. So thank you for asking the question, because it affords me the opportunity to say to them that this is a friendly action, and we'd like to have them be a part of it. Now, one more thing. I'm of African ancestry. I think people expect those who understand the suffering from a different perch, from the perch of persons who are akin to the people that have suffered, I think it's expected that we would move. I think people believe that some people would say, well, you haven't done enough. Well, we're not going to allow that to be said. This attorney has done all that he can. Others took up the cause. A person took it up immediately after, so lawyers did. So we want the record to show that we did all we can do. And then we'll give others a chance to do what they choose to do. And hopefully they'll join us in this cause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Boney has his hand raised.
Crystal, I believe Mr. Boney has his hand raised.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me, Congressman?
I can. Crystal, are you there? I just want to make sure Crystal is still with us.
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay. All right.
I was trying to let the lady finish.
Okay. All right. Would you identify your publication, Mr. Boney?
Yes, Jeffrey L. Boney, Forward Times, Houston, Texas. Question that I have for you, Congressman, is relative to co-sponsors. Typically, when there's legislation brought forth, there's identifiable co-sponsors. Do you already have individuals in the Congress that have chosen to support this effort? And then the second question that I have is, if these individuals, God forbid, pass away, what happens to the legislation and the efforts that you're putting forth?
Well, the legislation calls for the compensation, the recompense to go to the estate of the individuals. And if they have wills, then those wills will determine how it is to be dispersed. If they do not, the state has a will for everybody, and then it will be distributed according to descent and distribution within the state of Oklahoma. But we hope that this will not happen, that it will go to the estate. We really would like to see justice done so that they can not only, the estate can benefit from it, we want them to benefit from it. We want them to see that there is justice in their lifetime that will be afforded them. That's very important. Would you repeat the first part of your question again, please? You
Yes,
asked
sir,
me if
Congressman. It
there
was
are
relative.
persons who would, yes, you asked if there are
It was
persons who would
relative to
co-sponsor.
co-sponsors. Yes, sir.
Okay, I was going to get it on the record again with you, but I can tell you that my methodology is to have a bill in hand when I talk to a person who wants to co-sponsor. Most people want to see what you're going to file. We can talk to people, and we are already in the process of having conversations. But the finality of this will have a lot to do with the bill that we file. And I have not presented a final draft just yet, but I'm very close. I have it right here in my hand, and my staff will be moving with this sometime very soon. So once we get that, then we'll move to the co-sponsorships. But I think it's a great question. Both questions, quite frankly, all of the questions thus far. So thank you very much. Do you have another question before we move to another member of the press?
No, thank you.
Congressman, just real
Yes.
quickly, I do want to say that we do know we have other members of Congress who have been champions with us over the years. And I feel quite confident that with Representative Green leading this particular effort, that we will definitely have other members who want to participate. Those others who've been to Tulsa and want to participate. And again, but I think what's special and unique about what Representative Green has done here, while many others have come to Tulsa, as far as my knowledge, he was the only one to spend multiple days with us. And as he stated, and I think this is very important, he walked throughout the entire Greenwood district. Many people think of Greenwood as a street, like Wall Street, but it was 4 square miles. There was over almost 40 blocks. There's over 1,550 homes, over 11,000 residents, but at any time, maybe 15,000 people into Greenwood before the massacre. And he walked these blocks, and he also walked and talked to individuals on his own. We didn't ask him to do this. He did it on his own, was walking up and down the Greenwood community, talking to business owners, members of the community, and getting a real sense of what people want to see and why it's so important to people, even 103 years later, to have justice done in the form of reparations, restitution, and with the Department of Justice in the form of criminal accountability. So I just think that's really important as you think about this story, that this is not, he's not just, and maybe to Elizabeth's point, why someone from Texas, he didn't just parachute in and pick up on it. No, he's done the work. He's spent a lot of time with my staff and getting the information and doing the work to get to the level that we are now. So I'm confident that the bill is going to be something that other people will definitely want to participate in because it's going to be historic, and I think we can make it happen.
Do we have another member of the press available for a question?
There are no other hands raised at this time, sir.
Well, let's make one final call. Any other members with a question? If not, Attorney, I'll yield to you to close, and then I'll give a final word.
I think I've said pretty much what I wanted to say. Again, I just want to publicly thank you and your staff have been so wonderful to work with. And again, from the survivors, they just excited to see that there is still an opportunity for them to have justice. I cannot express strong enough how difficult it was for them to have their Supreme Court case dismissed by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. They felt like that was a complete injustice. They could not understand how the Oklahoma Supreme Court wouldn't allow them to move forward. And then when I started letting them know back in August that we had some other strategies and avenues, and that we were working with you, Representative Green, it really perked them up. And I really believe strongly, obviously I can't prove this, but I believe they're holding on for justice. I think it is a very unique scenario to see two women, two people who are 110 years old with their full mind state and ability to communicate as you and I are communicating today. And so I believe that just like for them, they are looking forward to this week to be able to early voting starts here in Oklahoma, to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris, something when they were born in 1914, they couldn't even vote as women, let alone Black women. It was illegal for them to vote. And now they're going to get to make history and vote for the first African-American president, female president of the United States. And just as that has happened, I believe they're also holding on, thinking that they're going to get justice. And this bill is the vehicle, I believe, that's going to finally make that happen from a compensatory standpoint.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words and for all of your efforts, and all of those persons who are on your team. I want to thank them for what they're doing as well. And I will borrow from what you have said earlier. They don't have much time. We don't know how much, but we know that they don't have as much as they've had. And we also know that this is a unique case because many times the rationale for not acting is that you don't have survivors, that there is no one that should be accorded this justice. Well, we have survivors. They have lived now over 100 years waiting for justice. And I would hope that persons would give that some serious consideration and deliberation. The fact that they are survivors. This is not a case wherein the claim can be made that those persons, had they filed their lawsuits timely, they would have received justice. Lawsuits were filed and appeals have been made. This attorney has taken this to the Supreme Court of his state, and the Supreme Court has not granted them the justice that they have been seeking, and that I believe, candidly, they should have received. So I'm grateful to you, the members of the press. Just let the public know that we have this grave injustice that we can correct. It is not too late. There will be an opportunity to bring justice to a 103-year-old circumstance that should never have taken place, but did, and we must act. I thank all of you for being on with us, and I will see some of you when I'm there on the 10th, and hopefully we'll be back and you'll see us on other occasions. This is not something that we plan to walk away from. We want to stick with it until we get justice. Thank you, everybody. Please have a wonderful life. Bye now.